Hello, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be showing off my British and Allied Army, where it stands at the moment, talking a bit about the decisions I've made for it, where it is, what it's doing and where it's going. So as you can see, it is British and Allied, so I have quite a large Brunswick contingent. I'll do a video on that separately. Artillery lined up in the front, British units and cavalry. So first thing to notice maybe is with the cavalry is my light cavalry are grouped on 4 bases a stand, and my heavy cavalry is going to be 5 bases for a stand. And that is so we can easily see on the tabletop what units they are. We've played some really epic battles of Napoleonics, about 10 starter boxes worth over like a 24-foot table. So being able to see and compute things in the heat of battle is fairly required. Now, I've not finished this army. The French one, it was the main one I was focusing on. I've still not finished that either. So let's have a look at some of the things I've done. There's some videos showing off in more detail, close up, what we've done, what I've done. And in that, there was a mistake. A rogue unit of French Hussars turned up in it, and I do show some French Hussars and claim they're allied, but here we go. So Scots Greys, so there'll be one unit of Scots Greys, and the Blues and the Royals, Lifeguards, so the next couple of bases of those will be red. What I'm generally looking at when I'm fighting these battles is a unit on the tabletop may represent a battalion, but it may also represent a larger formation like a brigade. See if I'm going to do the entire Waterloo battle on a 6x4 foot table. So with that in mind, I've not got too precious about exact uniform details. There's my British Heavy Dragoons. Apologize for the light now. I've brought out a lighting rig to help us see stuff. It's gone weirdly dark. It's only like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but hey ho, it's December. So close up on a bit of the details there. What I'm going to be doing with the bases is applying sand. I'm lucky enough to live down a beach. I'll collect sand off the beach. I'll sieve it to the sizes I want, glue it down, paint it with dark brown base, dry brush it with Steel Legion drab, and then use a bone colour for final highlights. Then I'm going to put some grass on it. So horse artillery there. So essentially there'd be a heavy and a light brigade cavalry there for sort of pick-up games, and each one will be supported by a horse artillery battery. There's my Hussars. I've also not painted many of them, but these I did show these off in the other video, so it's almost like an exclusive. British Light Dragoons. I do like the British Light Dragoon uniforms. So we start looking across at the infantry. Now, the other thing, because it's not my primary army, I've not really got around to doing much in the way of commanders either. So you'll see these close up. So I've got 6 British units there. So 1 Highland, 4 sort of British line, and rifles. And you'll see my skirmishing rifles in the front there. Another thing I'll draw your attention to is I swap around some of the cannons, so my horse artillery could have a howitzer as well. It's fairly easy to do. And then the final part of the army is the Brunswick contingent. Now, I've not worked on any other allies really for the army. When we were getting ready for that big Waterloo game, somebody else was doing the Dutch Belgians, so I'm not really focused on those yet. Who knows what the future holds, but this is the Brunswick contingent that we used. So you'll see there as some artillery. Basically just use French uniforms without great coats. When I talk about the French video, I'll talk about how I created new command stands for all those great coat units. Now, the other thing I've done is the Brunswick is based around 2 line units, 2 light units, and an avant-garde unit. So what I've done for the avant-garde is use those spare rifleman strips. What to do with them? In fact, no, they are not spare rifleman strips at all. They are the Marine Guard strips from the French Imperial Guard box. Then at the back there, you'll see the 2 light units. Now what I've done, I have got a couple of stands there where I've got skirmishers on them. And again, that's one of those things. So you can see on the tabletop that they are light units. It also meant that I had something to do with all those extra skirmishers I had from my French boxes, and I could eke out those uniforms more for everything else. And then 2 standard units with sort of that blue and red facings, and they're just standard French infantry. Now with the cavalry there, I have some hussars and some lancers. So I think I'm using 3 bases for my cavalry units. So I can either use them as 1 unit of 3 bases and just pick lancers or hussars to be the main one, or 2 small units. And finally, one of the things I've completed, I've always been in love with the Nassau uniforms, so a Nassau unit. Now, I have done a bit more conversion work on these. I didn't show these off in the other videos. I've done some head swaps, so the Grenadiers have the Beskins, which was something I had to do. The Perrys do some gorgeous Nassau Grenadiers and Bearskins and 28s, and I wanted to replicate that in the tabletop. So there we are. So amongst all my other projects, I've managed to paint loads of British, and my French I've painted significantly more. In fact, you can see the French lurking in the really useful box behind. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great time doing the hobby at the moment. I look forward to chatting to you again in another video. This weekend is British weekend. Next weekend will be the French weekend. So I look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye for now. Goodbye.